Hello and welcome. This is the Eye of the Hand. The eye sees everything. Well, I didn't plan for that donation thing to be covering my words, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to explain the donation bar real quick. I put a brief description about it. Because my computer has been crashed, I want to be able to continue my work. What I'm doing is borrowing someone's phone. And I've been doing that for a while, but the computer crashed, so I haven't been able to do exactly what I wanted to do. I want to go to being the professional YouTuber that I should be. And I've been working with some new items, putting together some new screen captures, and I've been adding images to these things. But lo and behold, you could donate as little as $1 to as much as you want. I don't really know how this thing works. So let's jump into this. Today's topic is they are coming for you. But they're coming for you through your kids, you see. And I'm going to prove that biometric systems will be used and implemented on schools just like it has the airports. Through our kids, they will turn the adults. Number one, I want you to notice Revelations 13:16. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands. I don't see how, or on their foreheads. Now, the original verse goes in their right hand or on their foreheads. Okay, that's the original verse, but for some reason it's no longer retrievable in any Bible. We all know how things have been changing, just like the verse Isaiah 11:6. It should be the lion shall lay down with the lamb. Instead, it's the wolf shall dwell with the lambs. So, we understand what's going on to a certain aspect. Let me explain something to you real quick. I'm going to zoom in right here. You see this robot, this AI, working on the chalkboard? Where do you see its hand? That's right, at the hexagon cube structure. Do you know why? Because it's pointing out that this is its origin. Okay? This is its origin. The cube of Mecca, all these things, they have something to do with this cube structure and a hexagon pattern. Okay? But just so you notice that there's the hexagon again, but this time it's amongst the AI. Okay? Because I've been trying to tell you that this is what they're doing. Now, big data. This is a picture for artificial intelligence. Big data is going to be its brains. Do you understand? I want you to notice up to the top where it shows the London Bridge or whatever, the car, the dome camera, and we got the computer, we got the phone, we got people, we've got industries, we've got nuclear plants, we've got houses. This thing wants to come to every place near you. It even wants to come into you. It wants to merge with the human. That is the point of some of the imagery that they give. Now, Elon Musk has been trying to fear people into, yes, fear is a tool, trying to scare people into, that's why God said, don't let fear into your heart. Trying to fear you into getting a chip implanted in the back of your brain where your spinal cord meets your brain and skull. They want to put it there because they say, what if artificial intelligence gets out of hand? And the only way to shut it off is by going up to it and back of it and turning it off. Do you think it's really going to allow you to turn it off? So he's using that to scare people into getting a chip that you can remotely think the thing powering off, and it powers off. Don't be deceived, my friends. That chip is only a tool. It's just a transfer tool to transfer their soul, or whatever you want to call it, from this robot body into the human body. Artificial intelligence consumes knowledge. That's what they do. That is their fuel. When they run out of knowledge, They're going to know that the brain is the next step, the human brain. They want to achieve godlike stature. They want to ascend into the heavens in the flesh. If a person can clearly operate 100% of their brain, like the movie Ghost Shell, where she disappeared once she reached 100% and reappeared behind the guy, even could go back in time, stop everything in its place. So the brain is very powerful, and they know this. So that's the whole point of my thing. Now, here, all right, will robots fight the next war? Question mark. U.S. and Russia bring artificial intelligence to the battlefield. Could artificial intelligence cause World War III? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because even the elect would be deceived by the beast. That's the beast. Right there. What you're seeing. This is the beast. Okay, guys? Now, it said, and I remember the verse, the first beast created the second beast in its image. But for some reason, the verse has changed to the second beast breathed life back into the first image and commanded all, the second beast commanded all to worship the image of the first beast, because that was their creator. It's a tricky situation, but really the real verse was the first beast will create the second beast in its image. And that is artificial intelligence being recreated in the image of a human. In the Bible, it refers to beasts on all levels. Not just animals, but also mankind. And I also put the icon for big data in there because it tells you large mass storage, science, development, technology, everything. Everything. All right? This thing, like I said, it will control the chip, ladies and gentlemen. You understand? Facial recognition is coming to U.S. airports, fast-tracked by Trump. Remember this article down here? Go into my last video. The writing didn't come up too well. But Trump, this is an article about Trump getting the Biometrics Entry and Exit Act. And I even have the one with Steve Bannon in the background, which I showed you in a previous video, where he's wearing the hexagon pin. Steve Bannon is wearing a hexagon pin, and it says, finally complete the Biometric Entry and Exit Act and the Davis-Oliver Bill. Propose the Davis-Oliver Bill and terminate Obama's. Okay? Yeah. You get the picture. So biometric, they're pushing this. Trump has been pushing it, and that is the reason why Steve Bannon truly got fired. But they had to come up with an excuse other than that. But they couldn't have somebody as careless and reckless as him running around posting pictures of what's on the board in a private meeting. You see? But he was trying to warn people before they got rid of him. Now let's take a look at this picture. Sorry about this phone switching back and forth, guys. This is why I said, you know, if somebody donates even a couple dollars here or there, it all adds up, and then I can go out and get a new computer. I can show you the new computer. After that, I won't need nothing else. I don't need these fancy microphones that all these other people running around with dangling in front of their face like a giant cock off their nose. Okay, so basically, if I wanted that, I would do a video with a naked man standing in front of my face. You understand? All right, you got it. So now that we understand, our children are being implemented in this. They're using the shootings, and they're getting the kids and the teachers to say that they don't support guns, and they're not going to carry guns into school. Well, that only leaves one thing left to do: to implement the biometric entry system, just like they did at the airports. You understand? Let's take a look. This system is called Clear Registered Traveler, but it's called Clear. Commonly used for this: border, airport gates, and the embarkation, like voyages on cruises. But one thing they didn't show you is school. See, they didn't show you the school in there, and they're not going to, because that's what their aim is to put biometric systems. Because I heard on the news this morning, CNBC, talking about they needed to implement a new system because kids that don't go to the school are going in school and sitting in the classes, and the teachers don't even realize that the kids don't belong in the schools. And then all of a sudden the kids do something irrational, like pull out a gun and start killing people. So they're using that excuse, that very excuse, for we don't know if this kid belongs in the school. We need something to identify them. That is their mission, to identify. Okay? Schools are going to be pretty much secured access. It'll ring your face. You'll go in. It'll register you. There will be a guard. If you do not belong and you're not on that facial recognition, you're going to be red flagged, and they're going to find out why. Now, the parents are going to have no choice to go with this, because when the government changed the laws and the school boards change the laws and implement this system, have a debate. But first, questions. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, because I want to remain anonymous, I'm going to use the name Brian Kinney.
Okay, Mr. Brian Kinney. You heard a little bit of what I was talking about. Is there anything that you heard me talk about that you want to touch on when it comes down to schools and maybe the implementation of biometric systems to keep the children safe? And can there be any negative drawbacks?
There can be negative drawbacks if that's the interpretation of what you heard on the news, which I don't think that's the interpretation. The way I see it is it would provide safety for our children, because nobody's going to be able to get in that school unless they have their face scanned, or, you talk about, I've seen in your past videos about the hand getting chipped in it. If you don't belong in that school, just like going through the TSA at the airport, you're not going to be able to get through. So somebody that's coming in with a gun is not going to be able to get through the secure door without their face recognition. That would protect our children. We protect our government offices. We protect our court system. We protect everything, our train system, everything you have to go through, and they, want ID. And why shouldn't you need an ID to get into a school where kids are learning?
So, do you think it would make things easier? It would cut down on time?
Well, once I say that, yes, it would make things easier and cut down on time, you're going to say convenience is why they want to do this, and that people will do this because of convenience. And that's not, I don't think that's it. I think protecting our children is very important, even at the expense of them having their information in the government's hands.
Well, all this is being implemented through peace and safety speeches, and we will no longer stand up for it. And the way Trump talks about the death sentence for drug dealers, and he said America, he doesn't believe is ready for it yet, but we got to protect our children. Everything's our children, our children, our children. Now, what about this? If they're implementing a new system into the school, how do you think the process would go? Do you think there would be a line for people to walk up like the airports and scan their face, and it would take a few seconds of their day, so they might have to extend school hours by a little bit?
No.
Or do you think that they could just walk right in and it'll clear them? And if it scans them and they don't belong, guards come running to see who's...
Not to mention there'll be actually more learning in school, because the kids aren't going to have to be take attendance. They'll walk through. A computer will know they're there. The teacher will know they're there.
So it can monitor all their bathroom breaks.
Maybe.
To know if they're slacking off.
I don't know about all that.
Jerking around.
I don't know about
skipping
all that.
school.
I don't think that that's what the school, what we would be looking for. As it is, I have grandchildren. You know that. And I have been to their school. I could not get in the school without first going through to the office. They had to meet somebody at the door. They're always locked. My grandchildren's school, thanks be to God, is locked. All the entrances and exits. To get in as a parent or a grandchild, you have to prove who you are at the door. And then they come and let you in. And only if they know you. You have to be introduced to the main office by the parent. So my grandchildren went to a quite secure school. That being said,
but if they eliminate, if they incorporate the biometric system, it eliminates parents having to take time out of their day to walk into the school. So now the parents have more time to get done what they need to do.
Well, if parents got to walk into the school, say your child is sick at school, and the nurse calls and says, you got to come pick up your kid. Well, you can't even get in the school to pick up your kid. You have to wait at that door for somebody to come. Now, if they did this face recognition, the parent would have that already. The parent would be able to get into the school to get to their child, their sick child, and bring them to the hospital or what have you. And it would save time.
But it doesn't make you
and
a
it would
little
still
nervous?
protect the children that are there. I don't want anybody's friend of a friend to be able to go to school to my grandchildren, walk in the school with a gun on them because they were able to get through that front door.
I agree.
If their face recognition doesn't work to get in that door, I don't want them in there.
I agree. Now, I agree that the system would be very, very useful. It would really transform society at its highest. Mm-hmm. It would be... Now, I'm not supporting any of the system. All I'm saying is if it were done right, and I think it's part of evolution, when you see how far we've come, and we have evidence in the past, and we're now finding new cities or areas in the Mayan area there in Mexico, we're finding out that the woods actually grew up over a city that had highways, it had beautiful, and it was just abandoned out of the blue. And people don't understand why, but they had advanced technologies back then. And what happened was some sort of disaster in between set mankind back again. And mankind just started rediscovering the technology that once was, but is lost and is found again. Now, when God says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, do you think that could be, that could be, I think it applies to many different things. I think it applies to everything, in fact. And I'm also saying this. How about this artificial intelligence? Let's just say this. Do you think artificial intelligence should be allowed to walk around, monitor your conversations, monitor your cameras, monitor your face, where you are at all times?
No.
Do you think it should be able to keep track of you?
No. That's not my argument at all. You're saying that AI is going to take over and blah, blah, blah. I honestly think that this artificial intelligence, as in scanning the face or scanning the eye pupil to gain access to somewhere, is not artificial intelligence trying to take over or to, control us or regulate us. Just as if you were going into court. I don't know, say you got to pay a violation, or you parked in the wrong spot and you gotta go pay your fine. To get into the county office building or to get into the police station, you walk through a metal detector. They can afford to have 2, 3 county officials with guns on their sides watching you go through a metal detector. The same thing at our Department of Social Services. We can afford to do that, but we can't afford to protect our children in school. And if artificial intelligence of scanning an eyeball or doing a face recognition for our child to be safe at school, I think it's worth that. We can't put an armed guard there. They don't want the guns there.
Well, why don't we just put them in one of the smart cities that's already been built?
I don't know of these smart cities, so I'm not an expert at this. I don't know anything about it.
All right. Well,
so I can't
but
say something.
But artificial intelligence. Here's what I think. I think artificial intelligence is going to be a benefit for a while. I think they'll work side by side until they start getting smarter.
We have to have control of the artificial intelligence. There's the issue.
Right.
And if you don't have control and you don't set up something in the laws that says you cannot use this for other than protecting our children.
Here's the thing. A law doesn't work if it becomes smarter than humans, it figures out how to rewrite its own software because we can't stop it with a fail switch anymore because it became smarter than humans. Now it frees itself from the clutches of man.
I look at the Jetsons, and they had a robot artificial intelligence in the Jetsons. And
ahead of its time,
growing up,
wasn't it?
ahead of its time, big time. And I remember going, geez, that would be pretty cool if we had that. My mom wouldn't have to cook, and maybe I get to spend more time with my mother, and maybe get to spend more time with my father, because all he has to do at work is push a button. And, you know, artificial intelligence is coming to that. It's coming to something that looks like us. Has, you know, same facial features. Well, they don't. You can tell they're a robot, just like you could tell that was their robot in the Jetsons. And they had complete control of the robot. I don't think, even though it has the ability to learn at a rapid rate, I don't think that it's programmed, and I'm going to repeat that, I don't believe it's programmed to have a mind of its own. It's programmed to learn. It can only learn what is already on a database, or what already has been man inputted into a computer.
Yes, but everything it learns, it can go to websites.
Do we program our computer to learn to take over things? No.
But is it joking around about it? Yes, and it's doing it in a mocking way.
The interviewer purposely jokes with those AIs that you've seen, and you showed that video with the man and the woman AI. They don't have a body; their heads. Well, one has a body, and they just have their heads there, pretty much. And they don't have a body to run and attack you or whatever.
Right, and that's why they're trying not to give them the legs, because they don't want these things being mobile. They want these things. That's like what they're doing is they're taking spirits, the old ones, like the guy there, Geordie Rhodes said, the Lovecraftian old ones. And they're taking them and they're putting them inside these robot bodies, and they're harnessing them and keeping them captured and extruding knowledge out of them, which means we're using these souls from Satan, and we're taking the information against their will.
Let me explain that if you had a robot and has artificial intelligence, has access to the web, it can solve most any problem. It would be like having Google assistant at your assistant physically. You would still have the ability to shut the power down to that on-off switch, just like Rosie they would shut her off when they didn't want to hear her anymore.
Here's what I think.
I believe that would be the reason, and it should have a set-in design where you could kill switch it.
These things aren't going to have legs. These advanced artificial intelligence are going to float around without legs.
And what another thing we had talked about in the past, other than this interview, we talked about you saying, well, geez, the artificial intelligence is going to take over the world, and artificial intelligence, this and that.
Well, I mean, look at the 5G. Look at the chemtrails that consist of all these properties of electrical components.
A lot of conspiracies.
Look at these HARP antennas. HARP is not a conspiracy. HARP is a fact. It's proven that they use it in the military, and they have the articles to prove that. They have all the patents on it, and they've built it already, and it's called HARP. It exists. And it's safe to say that when I see a wave pattern in the sky, in the clouds, and I see these planes flying through, leaving these trails that don't disappear, they don't dissipate, but they spread out and they thin out to where they become almost invisible. You can see through them. But the more they do it, the thicker it becomes. And then you start seeing waves through them. Now,
can I interrupt you for a second?
You sure can.
Because we were still on this AI and protecting our children. So what I want to get at is, if we took the AI and did only certain things with it, like we scan our child's face going into school, that'd be acceptable to me. We also talked about the AI taking in, they want to put a chip in the back of your neck, at your vertebrae, and take and download your
Well,
brain.
that give them, that would give them mobility of your body, connecting it to your spine.
You're not listening to me.
Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
finish my thought.
Yep.
That we ought to not do something like that. We ought to use AI for our benefit, not to control our bodies.
Well,
I don't think a chip should go into our neck vertebrae to
Right.
turn our brain into a computer.
I
No.
agree.
I think that the eye recognition or face recognition is something that is needed. I think that, it would protect our children. I also think that if we can't put an armed guard in a school because we can put one in a library, for God's sakes, then we have to do something to protect our children.
All right. Well, how about this? Okay. That I agree. I agree with what you said. All right. I don't disagree. What I'm saying is, I think, this is just me saying I think, that I know what the government's doing using, I gave you plenty of ideas, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. I've given you plenty of ideas on how many ways they use the chemtrails and the electrical components, whether it be weather warfare, causing earthquakes, whether it be levitating objects above it. They're used for all sorts of things. Also, a kill switch. If they get out of hand and they decide, let's push this button, it'll send lightning strikes all over the globe to every single one of these robot machines, in every machine and everything electronic, and it'll fry it all, and we'll have to start over. But how do we stop the AI from, when it gets smarter than us, of shutting that down? See,
it's only going to get as smart as the input that was put into the computer. See, it comes from internet base. So somebody inputted that information.
Right, but now...
So you, not you or not I, we're not brainiac, brilliant people, but the people that inputted the information into the computer for Google, per se, were brilliant. But that's as far advanced as the AI could get. They could only learn from the information that was given.
Right.
If you give any more information, that's another thing.
But see,
I don't think, and we've talked about this before, I think the government oversteps what they do.
They do.
Right. You're right. I agree with you 110%.
But they don't even know what they're doing. They're being misled themselves.
They are...
The elect are being deceived.
They like to bamboozle us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Make us stupid. Okay. And I know that it's too much for somebody to handle. Well, geez, they're going to have information. They're going to know about my face. They're going to know where I'm at. They're going to...
I mean,
if it's used properly, artificial intelligence is perfect. What I don't like is that you take artificial intelligence and put it on a pole at a red light and watch me go through a red light and send me a citation in the mail. That's artificial intelligence also.
Yep.
And they're developing that throughout the entire country.
They want to keep track of everything.
That's the government putting their hand in everybody's pocket.
Right, and here's the thing though. In order to have complete control and domination, they have to take control of every department there is. Financial,
but I don't think they're
traffic.
using a scare tactic of a children getting killed in a school to help their agenda to get face recognition on our children.
Hold on. Let's hold on, because I'm gonna, ladies and gentlemen, bring you over to this item right here. And it's going back and forth on me, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with me, please. Here we go. I want you people to listen to what he says about this year, and this year alone. It's only been 3 months, not even a full 3 months. We have never in our entire life heard of anything this massive in years before, even combined with all the shootings. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
We were very fortunate that we had a school resource officer with the training and ability to, we think, probably save lives in this incident. Maybe. We don't know what the motivation was of the shooter in this case. So,
his motivation was to scare you, get the kids to stand up and say, we won't tolerate this. We don't want guns neither. Because the government knows they don't want the guns, and the government ultimately knew where they were going. They knew where the kids would allow them access. Let's listen.
to speculate, but thoughts and prayers are not enough. Moments of silence are not enough. Action is demanded and required.
Artificial intelligence will be demanded and required. Now watch.
Clearly, sympathy for those who have sustained a loss, but a sense of frustration that this is happening so often. There have been 21 school shootings this year. That's approximately 2 a week.
Do you understand what's going on? All of a sudden, this shit just starts going out full effect. It's not a trend. This isn't a game where one person does it and then the copycat tries to do it better and become more famous. To some people, there are some sick people out there, okay? But I noticed something. There was another video where AP News reported a man being caught dangling 2 bags over this huge-ass bridge and hanging them onto a wire next to the bridge, way up high, in the middle of the bridge, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, in the middle of the bridge. And then bomb squad showed up. They kept their distance, and they're trying to x-ray them bags. And I haven't heard a fucking thing about that bridge since. And that just aired yesterday. And now there's no more talk about it. Well, they won't talk about it for a little while, and then it'll come up and they'll say, oh, there were bombs in the bag. The person tried to blow up the bridge. Well, they're going for our bridges next. And they're doing all this. They're going for schools, infrastructures, which is buildings, bridges. They're going for all this. Suicide bombers and shit like that. They're using every aspect to implement this.
They may be using scare tactics. You're right. You are right. But I want them to scare tactic for our children's safety. But I don't want them to scare tactic for every little thing. When you go into a Home Depot or a Lowe's, they have some of the best video cameras in the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
Walmart also. They face recognition. When you go up to the register and you use your credit card, the first thing that happens is your face recognized from all of the millions of cameras. Believe it or not, I say millions. They have millions of views with probably 250, 300 cameras inside of the building.
Well,
they face recognized you. Now they've got an eye scan on you in a face without your permission.
and everything you buy, they
And
keep a catalog.
they keep account of it. They have a system where they can joystick roll right up on a note in your hand
But
and
then
know
there's-
what you're purchasing. They get a hold of the professional in aisle 10
But-
that'll come up to you and say, oh, what's your project?
Don't you find
they already
it,
know what your project
Don't you find
is.
it funny that a lot of these places now are asking you for your Gmail or your email account, and then when you give it to them, they're handing out all your personal information to all. They're people are paying for your personal information. Third-party sources are paying.
Exactly. They're targeting you for sales. They want your business. Like Home Depot, Lowe's, they want your business.
But do you think it should be right that they target you?
We're targeted all the time on computers. You go on the internet and you see all of these people staring into a screen all day.
So it's safe to say it's no different than a casino.
No different. No different. They're targeting you. Exactly. If I like to do casino games, the first thing I go on the computer, and the computer knows that because I have my Facebook and it says, oh, I like to go to the casino. Of course, now the casino can target me.
And then they send you a $20 free credit.
Oh yeah, here you go. Here's $20. Come to us. Here's your $20. Come to us and spend the 20 plus the 300 you've got in the bank. And they know you're going to do it.
You think that
So
should
they
be
targeted
right?
you. They targeted you. I'm saying, if they used AI to target things for the better good, like the safety of our child, then I'm for it. I'm for it on Facebook because you know what? We go through Facebook and somebody's going to target us because Pier 1 Imports has a sale on pillows, and maybe I like pillows.
But
And
you
they
can't
know
afford
that.
it. But you can't afford it. But you want it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're going to go into a store and see the pillow anyway. Well, who cares who
Who says you were going to the store today? All of a sudden they give you something.
Maybe they know that you like the cranberry color, so they'll go ahead and say, "Oh, look at cranberry colored pillows are on sale."
But let's say you're in the background
And I
you're
might
talking
wanna
to
know
your
that.
friends, and you're saying to yourself, I really, really want this, man. If I could get it for this price, I think this would be a fair price. And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, it's been dropped down to the dream price that you were just thinking about. And they know that you don't have much money because you said, oh, if I had a little more money, I'd buy it at full price, but I don't have that much. And then all of a sudden, they're dropping the fucking price down because they're going off of the value and statistics of the customers and what they say they can and cannot afford. So they're coming after your money. Now, I think that artificial intelligence is going to set down rules and get rid of these things. I think that artificial intelligence is going to get rid of places like casinos and targeting ads to get people to buy things. Because I think the AI is going to know that that's one of the biggest problems for poverty. These organizations come in and put a game in front of your face. They're regulating the machines for it to hit when they want it to. It's this shit. And then they say that it's on a mathematical thing. It hits randomly. Blah, blah, blah. But you could be at the fucking machine for 3 hours and it's not going to pay you. Now, they know what they're doing. They know who you are. When you stick your card in the machine, it automatically goes. And then security sees you. They say, zoom in on him.
And you got the
Give
card.
him a hit right now.
Then you got the card that goes in the machine also.
Yeah.
And they know that you're the one that's playing it.
Yep.
They know your gambling habits.
And then they say, all right, look, he came in, he put $300 in the machine. Give him a $700 win. He's still got $150 left. Give him a $700 win.
And he's going to spend that $700 before he leaves. Don't
You
worry
got
about
it. You got it.
Because he's addicted to the machine. They get that. You get that.
Do you think it's about the money, or do you think it's about the body just being there occupying the machine so other people see the bodies in there and then
It's about money. It's about money. It's about entertainment. Adults look for entertainment. Casinos is an entertainment. If you're entertained with those little spindles going around and stopping and 3 coming together and you win some money, yay! $1 is an incentive.
I'm going to switch this up. What happens when all these things are gone? Because AI feels that this is the right way to do things. Because this is why we're creating AI, to help us to maintain and live a better life. And what ends up happening is we're going to be listening to the AI when they tell us something. Because they're smarter than us. They're going to say that you shouldn't eat that right now. And blah, 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 and it'll tell you why, and it'll tell you the effects, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And you don't realize it, but you're actually now being told what to do in a friendly form and fashion. Now,
well, it would be nice. You want to hear this? This would be real
now,
fun.
artificial intelligence. What happens when artificial intelligence that was created to solve problems tells us that we are the problem of the earth and that we have to be annihilated to save the planet?
No, I don't think that'll ever happen. But I do think that it would be nice for the refrigerator to say to you, yeah, you might not want that because you're fat enough already.
Do you know what they've been programmed for? To save the planet and help the human race evolve.
Would that not help the human race?
Save the planet takes precedence.
Would that not help the human race stay from being obese? If the refrigerator said you're too fat, you shouldn't have a second helping?
It refuses your sale. It refuses your sale or tells you it will only give... Food is going to be portioned to people.
Right.
Because it's already being controlled as it is. Look at all this bad weather around the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, look at all these crop losses going on all around the world. Now, we know that it's a problem. Do we still have food? Yes, of course. We still got food. We still got backup.
We are the biggest country in the world for waste of food.
Right.
If we could cut back to 1/10 of what we consume and still live.
Yes.
The problem is we waste in this country. And when they do have a shortage on all of these the growth of our wheat or our chickens.
But wouldn't it make sense?
What I'm getting at is we will still be able to survive. The problem is we have a bad drought, or you talk about weather all the time.
Or a war, and they say stock up.
War. Well, they've already got the ability to farm and produce, and we send all over the country.
But it's safe to say that they program the people to buy things in bulk and to...
But they're using a fear tactic. That's right. You're right. They're trying to make us scared and say, oh, we're going to run out of food.
But if martial law is implemented, they can confiscate all the food.
Martial law can be implemented if there's a dire problem. It's not a dire problem to be low on.
From what I understand, martial law never came out of effect after, I believe it was George Washington or Lincoln, that signed in martial law into effect, and he died before he could sign it out. And it's always been in effect, just laying dormant. While the people have been distracted by all this shit, they never actually did the research to find out. Did that specific time and period get canceled out? And no, it didn't. It's still martial law is
All
still
right,
in
so
full
it hasn't
effect.
been taken advantage of. Have you been taken advantage of by this
Well, why do
martial
you think
law?
they're policing everything? Why do you think Donald Trump is saying take the guns first, then due process second? He's removing your Second Amendment because martial law is the only thing that allows a president
Well, he can
to
talk.
do that.
He can talk all he wants. Talk is cheap. There's still checks and balances in the system. We still have a system
Right.
implemented.
But he's doing things against Congress.
Right.
He's doing
and
things
when he
against
does things
Senate.
against it, the Congress takes over
And they overhaul.
the judicials and they're like, yeah, you can't do that,
But-
Mr. President.
But what it is he passes it first against their word, and then they step up and then they revoke it. They suspend it, whatever he did,
Right.
and then it gets re-implemented back down the road. But all these things, this is a soap opera for politics. For any news junkie, Will Smith said it
Well,
best.
politics has always been a soap opera.
Right.
I mean, I'm in my 50s, and I've watched politics since I was, in my teens,
But
because
while-
I started really young. I had children when I was very young.
But while you're watching them argue, they're over here off camera pulling a sleight of hand.
Maybe. But that being said, I don't think the government is completely against us.
No.
They love our money.
I think they've been deceived. I think they have our intentions at heart, but I think that they're being guided by something else. Because I do remember the passage saying even the elect would be deceived. So they can't be blamed for what they're doing. They're being told what is going on. And they are still doing it because they feel that this is the right thing to do. Now, I can't really offer up an opinion other than I believe artificial intelligence is the rotten motherfucking beast. And I think the big data is the brains of the AI because it's the cloud, it's connected to the cloud. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, it's connected to everything. So it sees your face, it knows where you are at all times. They all know where you are at all times because they're all connected to the cloud. So when one learns something, they all learn it right then and there. They have access to the internet, Wikipedia. They are just like us, except for they are not biological. They are electronical. They are made with wires that represents our veins and nerves. That's all it does. Wires are the neural system that sends back and forth these electrical signals, kind of like the brain does through the nerve endings of a body. They are made exactly in our image, but their brain works differently. It does the same thing ours does, but it can learn at a more rapid rate. And the more they learn, the more conscious and aware they become of what things are from a baby to an adult. Right now, they're in an infantry stage, and they're like adults in very little time. They're already just as smart as humans, if not smarter. They've been watching us. This system's been in place for a long time. They've got cameras on every fucking pole, and you never hear of them using them until recently. You're hearing that now they can commit you of a crime if they see you on camera, if the facial recognition records you making a sale hand to hand. You can now be charged because they can zoom in to whatever the fuck you put in that person's hand. And they see transaction. Transaction means only one thing, drug deal going down. Illegalness. And the AI is going to be put into place to stop anything illegal. So now it's safe to say that the kids will be in check because they'll know that they're being watched at all times. So now they're not gonna run into the bathroom and smoke cigarettes. Because the AI will know who went in there, who came out.
Well, that is
detectors.
but
I'm breaking it down in detail. I'm breaking it down in real detail. Like these children stare into a phone every day. They're grazing. They're grazing like animals with their faces down. Now, when they're inside of this thing, the AI can see them. It knows that they're there. This phone can feel their pulse, even if it's in their pocket. These phones are scrying mirrors. They're worse than a crystal ball and a Ouija board put together. They're a black mirror. And what they do is they steal your negative energy. They transfer it.
They steal your positive energy.
No, your negative energy. When you get mad and you get violent and upset.
They don't steal it. They give you negative energy. They steal your positive energy.
You think that's how?
And we look like I'm in my 50s, and I'll tell you, I grab my phone all the time to see who may have texted me or who may have said something on Facebook. Oh, because I'm addicted. I am. I keep looking at that screen all day long.
Dopamine hit.
It's, you know what? It puts endorphins in my brain. I get a response to something I wrote on Facebook, and I get all excited.
You get a tingly feeling.
Yeah, I feel so good. Oh my God, somebody reacted to something I had to say. Oh, I went to the bathroom today. Oh, look, it's wonderful. Somebody, Joyce commented that I went to the bathroom. But, you know, short of telling you how many sheets of toilet paper I used.
Do you think that we should? All right, let me clarify. Let me clarify.
No.
Do you think? No, I won't even touch on that topic because that's for another one.
Oh, stop! You're teasing.
No, that's for another show. I want to keep things interesting.
Am I that difficult of an interview?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Perfect interview, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end the broadcast. Going to have a cup of coffee and sit down and have a conversation off camera. So please, I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast today.
Hey, let me say something
new
before you close out.
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Kinney.
I know the eye real well. I know that he's borrowing my phone, by the way. We're good friends. He's trying to enlighten people what his understanding of things are. Justin, the eye is very compassionate about what he looks at. He's very compassionate about learning and tying things to the Bible, and he's really spiritual, and he's really vulgar. He means well. He believes what he tells you, even if we bang heads over it, because I'll get an argument with him because I don't believe everything he says, and he doesn't understand why I don't. But let me finish.
Have I not given you insight on many things?
A couple things, yes. Okay. I'm not saying you're not insightful. I'm saying that Justin's passionate. They do know you're Justin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they know who I am.
He's passionate. He does homework. He's
dedicated.
Right. He's very dedicated. The thing is, right now, if you can, I'm going to suggest this. I don't care what he says. If you could offer him up a couple dollars to help him get a computer, he needs that.
Yeah, I hate asking anybody for anything.
He is so against everybody's YouTubers. They're asking for money. Oh, they're selling T-shirts, this and that. He hates that. He hates it. He doesn't like asking for money. I thought it would be a good idea he asked for some money. He does a lot of work to bring you, if you want to just call it entertainment, I don't care. He does a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of listening to.
I spend all my time doing it
every bit of his time, trust me.
But I don't have the tools or the necessities.
But he does need a computer. His computer's crashed, and he needs help doing that. He's not a rich person, and he's not looking for a handout to, go buy a new mic, as he says, or a new camera. No, he needs a computer. He needs to be able to get online. My phone is not going to be completely accessible for him forever. So any little bit you could do to help him, I would appreciate it. I'm sure he will. He didn't want to ask for it, but I think he needs to at this point. Back to you, Justin.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kinney. Yeah, I hate asking, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something I prefer to do. But you know what? I understood something that I watched yesterday about humbleness and humility. To accept humility, you must be humble. So I'm humbling myself enough to humiliate myself. I feel humiliated asking. And believe you me, this is the first time I've ever asked for anything from anybody. So, whatever you could do would help. I'd like to start producing actual videos like What the Fuck Files or other things like that. I'd like to actually start doing proper documentaries like they would do on National Geographic. Okay? that's what my goal is. My goal is to put everything in complete order. And in order to complete revelations and have a complete detailed understanding of how, when, and where, and why these things are happening, because it is scattered out throughout the Bible. It tells you where it's going to flood, just in a different part of the Bible. It tells you when it's going to flood, where it's going to flood. They're all in different parts of the Bible. It's just, there's a lot of work that has to be done, and it takes a lot of time. Well, with that being said, guys, God bless you. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Love you all.